Here we are for the second part of the NASCAR sponsorship thing. Now, the first video we looked at what the sponsors do, how they help, and how the main things were. So let's just recap. First off, we looked at the three probably most recognizable paint schemes of a car. We had the number 43 STP car of Richard Petty, the number 3 Good Wrench car of Dale Earnhardt, and the number 24 DuPont car of Jeff Gordon. Then we looked at we got Jimmy Johnson's Lowe's car and Kyle Larson's Target car. We also talked about how the sponsors can help pay for the teams. But now we're going to look at what they do if a team, say, leaves, like say a driver leaves the team. We're going to look at that after. But first we're going to look at sponsorship outside of sponsoring the car themselves. So you start in the car, but obviously they make so much stuff based off of other things. I mean, you look at the YouTube studio, what we got in here. We got a poster up there with the car paint scheme. We got pictures of the car everywhere. But what the thing is that for everything that's not the actual car, that's also part of the agreement. So, for this car here, we're going to look at this in here, is from the NASCAR video game, which I shall grab down here. So, it's from this game. Here the picture is. So, what happens is, M&M sponsors this car. So, not only are they on the car for real, but anything that's officially licensed by NASCAR, which has this little code thing on it. So whoever, you get that code, anything you buy that's NASCAR, die-cast cars, the video games, we got a car there, yeah, here's a car. The cars have the codes on them. So basically anything has the codes and you can do stuff, but those little things, besides codes, they also say NASCAR, and then it says officially licensed product, and also you use the codes to get prizes. But what they do is M&M signs a contract with NASCAR and Joe Gibbs and Kyle Busch to sponsor his car. Mostly the team. Yeah, they sign with the car, not really with Kyle Busch. So they sponsor with Joe Gibbs and with NASCAR, and what happens is the teams don't say anything bad about M&M, so they don't say M&Ms suck. You know, they're not like, I hate M&Ms, I would never eat them. You know, they wouldn't say things like that, and NASCAR wouldn't say anything bad about them either, obviously. That's how they get their money, so they're not going to say, I hate M&Ms, they all look stupid. Do you want to leave, Sapphire? Why are you even in here? Either way, so they're not going to say anything bad about their sponsor. But they get to be licensed in the game, so any time the M&Ms now is signed here, they're in this game, so their car, so that way they can put the thing in there. Now, see, there's the Kyle Busch, and we have, there's the Kyle Busch M&M's Toyota. We have the Austin Dillon Dow Chemicals number 3, bringing back the number 3 car. But then you get to certain circumstances. There is 2 specific actually 3 specific things that they're not going to put on anything except for hats, shirts, and specific die-cast cars. In the NASCAR video games, or the kids' die-cast cars, which are the ones you can buy in the store, well, not really kids, but this here would be the kids' version of the number 2 car for Brad Keselowski. Now, what makes this car different is the fact that it says Blue Deuce. So they'll be like, okay, it says Blue Deuce. The thing is his sponsor is Miller Lite, which is a beer. So, anybody under the age of 21, obviously, as you know, can't drink beer. So if you're under the age of 21, they're not going to try to sell the product. That's the same with when they had the Winston Cup. Obviously, it was a bit different because they were smoking is 18 years. Old you gotta be. So either way, it falls in there. So 21 for beer. So either way, they're not gonna put anything in cigarettes or beer. Obviously, cigarettes don't sponsor. They don't sponsor NASCAR anymore. So only the beer sponsors now. But years ago, it was Winston, which is cigarettes. That was that was the main sponsor. It's the Winston Cup Series. Before it became Nextel and Sprint. But right there also, it doesn't say Coors Light Poll. It just says Poll Award instead of Coors Light Poll. So there's Coors Light, which is a minor one. Red's Apple Ale, which also sponsors on this car, isn't as big. But you got Budweiser, which sponsors a full car, which we're going to see in a few minutes. And this car, which is Miller Lite. So, to show you that, I need something. I have bought a while ago the die-cast cars of Brad Keselowski. There's two different ones. There's this one here, which I found at the store, the Blue Deuce. Okay, here it is, quite simple. You can see it says Blue Deuce, and it's two-car, whatever. Doesn't really have anything interesting. Okay, this is 2013, 2014. No, this is 2013 blue car. Okay. They didn't make it this year to package because when they first produced them, they didn't know he was making a white car. This is what the car actually looked like last year. So, honestly, you look at the side and look at how much detail they lose. They gotta take off all the beer, so there's nothing there. Anywhere that says it says Miller Time back here, Blue Deuce. Hood, Miller Lite, Blue Deuce. So those sponsors specifically don't have as much to do. So they probably don't have to pay so much because they're not in video games or making money off this die-cast car. So here they are. Also, what makes these cars different is this one here is not meant to come out of the packaging. You look at the bottom, it's got two little holes. That little hole there and that little hole there keep it screwed onto a base. The base that it gets screwed onto is meant to make it really hard for you to get it off of. As you can see here, on this car, the Kevin Harvick 4 car, which says Budweiser right there, beer sponsor, right there, you cannot really get it off that base unless you have a special screw, like a screwdriver thing, which it's very hard to get undone. But years ago when I used to collect these, I did manage to have my dad, the later summer, take and get it off the base. So that we could have it. Now that one there I do want to keep in the box, but you look at this one here and this one here, since I keep them all in my dresser, in my room, I sort of got a bit anxious and snapped it off myself. Could have easily broke the bottom of it, but I didn't, so that was good, plus they're only like $2. Either way, that is how it is with sponsorship. Now we're going to look at what happens for, like, say a team. Okay. Say a driver. No, actually, that's the next thing. So we have a team. Okay, you have your team that they're part of. Some drivers only have one car, but you're still a team. So this here is Stewart Haas Racing. Their sponsor, Mobile One, is usually just for Tony Stewart. He drives Mobile One Bass Pro Shop. This car is for Kevin Harvick, though, where he had Mobile One. Now this car here, I think, looks amazing. Now that's actually one of the better looking cars of 2014. That's the thing, though. Sometimes a sponsor aligns itself specifically with one driver. So, you look at Team Hendrick. I'm probably going to use Team Hendrick and Kyle Larson as my major things for a lot of this, because those are the teams that I like, and Tony Stewart's team. Those are really the teams that I'll mention a lot, since Kyle Larson's my favorite driver, Tony Stewart's my second favorite driver, Jeff Gordon probably third favorite. So those are probably the teams that I'll mention the most. So, either way, this one here is, Mobile One is aligned with Tony Stewart's team, mostly Tony Stewart's sponsor, but occasionally will make an appearance like this. Now, sometimes you get the case where a sponsor will be aligned with a driver and less with the team. Right here on the 4 car of Kevin Hart for 2014, it says Budweiser. Now, remembering that these here are not the video game or from the other thing, the die-cast in the stores. They can have beer sponsors on them because these here are the actual ones for the race. This is a key picture because in 2001 to 2013, Kevin Harvick drove for Richard Childress Racing. Now, this car is the 29 car that he drove last season with Tony Stewart, as you see with his Mobile 1 car, which is an important thing. And we also see Kevin Harvick in the 29 as Budweiser. So you're probably like, okay, Budweiser is a small sponsor. But the thing is Budweiser is one of Kevin Harvick's major sponsors even now. So last year with Richard Childress Racing, we have that. Now we show you a picture of Kevin Harvick's car racing this season. And here it is. You can once again see almost the same exact paint scheme as the other one, the 29 car, except this time it says 4. Different team, same driver, same sponsor. Budweiser is Kevin Harvick's sponsor more than the team. That does not mean that on the uniforms, the other 3 drivers wouldn't have their, I wouldn't say Budweiser on the uniform. In the same way that for a team, the sponsorship will be on the uniform for a team, even though it's only for one driver. You look at Chip Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates, Kyle Larson, and Jamie McMurray. Kyle Larson has Target as his sponsor. The Target's all over his uniform. Jamie McMurray has McDonald's as his sponsor. And that's all in his uniform. But you look at the car in this little spot, and on the sleeves of the uniform, they will have the opposite sponsor. So right there on that little piece right next to the window now, right there, that will still say like McDonald's or Target, depending on which one it is. So on Kyle Larson's car, there'll be a little McDonald's logo. In Jamie McMurray's car, it'll be a small little Target logo because they sponsor both parts of the team. Same on the uniform, Kyle Larson will still have McDonald's under the sleeve or on the major part on the left side of it where it's a Sprint Cup and Chevy over there. They will flip between McDonald's and Target. Now you're not going to see Kyle Larson with McDonald's on the hood of his car or Jamie McMurray with Target, but they both are on the same team and they share sponsors in that way. So the sponsor followed Kevin Harvick with Budweiser. And occasionally, something else interesting happens. But first, I want to show you how sometimes a sponsor will stick with the team and not the car. In 2008, this was the Target car, 41 instead of 42, because Chip Ganassi Racing had numbers 1, 41, and 42. 42 with Juan Pablo Montoya, 41 with Reed Sorensen, and 1 with Jamie McMurray. All about that time. So, Reed Sorensen drove the number 41 Target car. Later, Target switched to the 42 for Juan Pablo Montoya. But before then, this was the car for Target, 41. Now, before we've seen that Budweiser switched from the 29 to the 4 with Kevin Harvick for a different team. Reed Sorensen left the team, and like I said, the number went to the 42 car. And that is how this car came to be about. Right there. The number 42 car of Kyle Larson. So, that shows how sometimes the sponsor switches teams, and sometimes it stays with one. Now, Target, I don't think would ever sponsor a different team, because Target, though not that big in NASCAR, in Indy or Formula One, whatever one it is, Indy, yeah. Indy and Formula One, I think, have almost the same looking cars. I'm not sure though. I don't know. I don't know the Indy Formula One cars. Whatever. Either way, we have. Just happen to have a Indy car here, and we're gonna have the NASCAR one right now. For Chip Ganassi. So this here, number 9 car from a couple years ago. This is the Chip Ganassi car with Target on it. Okay, so this one here is Formula One, and for NASCAR, also Target. Now this one here is 2014. This one here should be about 2007, 2008. What year was it on the wheels? Not sure anymore. Either way, there's the two, so both with Target, both with the same teams, and that's the thing. So Target is a big sponsor of Chip Ganassi. They've only been sponsoring NASCAR for about 13, 14 years, but in Formula One they've been in for 25 years. So that's why hopefully soon we will have a die-cast review of the number 42 silver car for the 25 years of Target sponsorship. And finally, in some cases, a sponsor will sponsor multiple cars of different teams. Bass Pro Shop, for example, is a major sponsor of Tony Stewart. Okay. They're typically on his car. But in some cases, Bass Pro Shop, who in the Nationwide Series and Truck Series, Craftsman Truck Series, sponsor Austin Dillon and Ty Dillon. So in Sprint Cup, on some occasions, Bass Pro Shop will sponsor Austin Dillon. And even in some other cases, Bass Pro Shop will sponsor Jamie McMurray, who before we said was Kyle Larson's teammate. And I know you can't see it that well, but right on that one little spot right there, that is the Target logo. I forgot to point out in the car where McDonald's logo was. I'm like, I gotta point it out, and then I got off track with the cars. But in this sense, sponsorship can do many, many things. So, I'd like to thank you for watching this long video about sponsorship. And yeah, it's been fun to make. Yeah.